There are some stories that creep up on you slowly. You hear them, and at first they don't seem like much. Just another odd memory. Just another local rumor. But sometimes, it's not the story itself that unsettles you. It's the way the person telling it reacts. The look in their eyes. The weight in their voice. The sudden silence when they reach the part they don't want to remember. I had a friend who grew up here. We lost touch over the years, but before he moved away, he told me something that I still think about from time to time. When my friend was a kid, he went to one of the old elementary schools here in town. He never told me which one. Maybe it didn't matter. The building may have already been gone for years by the time he shared this story. But he remembered it. He remembered the way it felt. The way everything always seemed dim, even on the brightest days. The way the air always carried a faint, musty smell like a damp basement. Every school has its share of strange rumors, little stories that pass from one grade to the next. For my friend, it was the basement bathroom. The older kids told stories about it. Some said it was haunted. Some said a kid had seen something down there once, but no one really knew any more than that. He never saw anything himself, but he never liked going down there. There was something about it. Years passed. The school shut down. My friend grew up. One night when he was in his late teens, he and a couple of friends decided to sneak in and take a look around. It wasn't about proving anything. They were just bored, looking for something to do. A little urban exploration. When they got inside, everything looked just as he remembered, but somehow it was worse. The building was emptier than empty, the kind of silence that soaks into the walls. The air smelled mustier, like wood and dust left untouched for years. Even though it had been closed for a while, it felt like no one had stepped inside since the last bell rang. His friends wandered the halls, poking around old classrooms, but he had one destination in mind. He wanted to see the basement. He made his way down the stairs. It was colder than he expected. The air felt denser, heavier, pressing against his skin. With every step, the feeling grew. By the time he reached the door to the bathroom, he was almost shaking. He told himself it was just nerves, that it was all in his head. But the moment his fingers touched the door handle, everything went silent. It was the same feeling he had as a kid. That sense of presence, that oppressive feeling of being watched. And then, just as quickly as it came, it was gone. He stepped inside and everything felt normal. Just an old bathroom, abandoned like the rest of the school. The air wasn't heavy anymore. The pressure was gone. He almost laughed at himself. All those years, building this place up into something terrifying. And for what? A bunch of old tiles and a couple sinks that probably hadn't worked in a decade. Shaking his head, he turned to leave. And then he caught a glimpse of something reflected in an old mirror. He stopped talking when he got to this part. He had been telling the story like it was funny, like he had been embarrassed by his own fear. But when he mentioned the mirror, something changed. His face went pale. His breathing got shallow. For a moment, I thought he wasn't going to finish. Then he shook his head and said, "I don't want to talk about it." I asked him what he saw. He wouldn't say. He just looked at me and said, "I know what I saw, and I know no one will ever believe me." After that, he never brought it up again. A few years later, he moved away. We lost touch. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe it was just his mind playing tricks on him. Maybe it was something more. All I know is this. Whatever he saw in that mirror, it scared him. And sometimes that's all the proof you need.